Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. So, what do we do now? In my opinion, I think most of us would agree. Some of you may disagree. I think we still need to add a wide receiver to this roster for the 2025 season. But after all the misses, Carr stays at Miami. Trayshawn Hurry commits to Louisville, doesn't even take a visit. Keelan Marion off to Miami. Ted Hurst remains at Georgia State. Jer'Michael Carter not going to visit, cancels his visit to Tennessee. There's no names, there's no targets, there's no news. We'll see what Tennessee does at that wide receiver position. Now, something last night in the Monday night chat that Austin Price said. Now, I had a conversation with Foul Ming about this, so take it for what it's worth. But AB said every wide receiver that's in the portal in this spring cycle, Tennessee is evaluated, and they feel like the 7 guys they have on scholarship are better than anybody that's been in the portal. So that, the conversation with Foul Ming, what else are you going to say? What else are you going to say? But the bottom line is I think Tennessee still needs to add a wide receiver. We continue to wait. We'll continue to watch. We'll see if any names float out there that we can take a look at. But we also know wide receiver is not the only position. We know that Tennessee wants to add somebody on the defensive line as well as in the secondary. I've mentioned Josh Shell a couple of times in a couple of videos, 6'5", 285-pound defensive tackle from Grand Valley State. He was the top priority for the Vols at defensive tackle. Look, he may not be the sexy name. He may not come from the big program, but I think you got to trust Coach G, and Coach G evaluated all the guys in the portal, and Josh Shell was the guy that was at the top of his list. He just wrapped up his visit on Sunday, according to Brent Hubbs over at VolQuest. The Vols really liked his tape. Wanted to see him in person. Wanted to meet him in person, see what the size looked like. They liked what they saw. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. He's a guy that they feel like could be a real leader in that second year. So he would be a depth piece for 2025, but then he could be a leader for that 2026 football team. Went on to say that Shell is hearing more and more from other schools every day. Going to take more visits with more schools calling. He can drive up his price if he wants to. Will be interesting to see how things play out the next couple of weeks, as well as how Tennessee plays things. Now, last year at Grand Valley State had 35 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 5 passes defended, and a forced fumble. Last night, I thought it was interesting in the Monday night chat. Somebody point blank asked, is Tennessee getting the Grand Valley State defensive tackle? Austin Price simply responded with a yes. So take it for what it's worth. Also want to take a look at the secondary. Obviously, the Jacobe Thomas news became official yesterday. We're going to talk about that and another new target in the portal for the secondary. But before we do that, I need you guys to do me a favor, man. Do that YouTube stuff. Take 2 seconds and drop down below this video and just hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. If it's your first time here on the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be that. What we are is exactly what you guys are. We're fans. For the fans, by the fans. If you like it, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Right now, live every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, we play EA Sports College Football, but we hang out and we talk all things Tennessee football on Sunday night. So come join us for that. If you also like the content, the videos, whatever it is about this channel that you like, you want to support us, think about hitting that join button down below. You become a member of the channel for just $1 a month. We appreciate the support. You get custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, access to fan call-in shows. We're going to be doing a members-only stream coming up soon. And more importantly, man, you're just keeping the lights on around here and allowing us to bring you Tennessee football content every single day of the year. But let's talk about Jacobe Thomas. Again, the news became official yesterday. You know, he initially said he planned to enter the portal. That's always the wording they use. They've got to file the paperwork. Of course, we had the weekend in the mix there, but Pete Nakos puts it out. Tennessee defensive back Jacobe Thomas has officially entered the transfer portal. Played last season at Tennessee and has 1 year of eligibility remaining. Started his career at Middle Tennessee State. This is unfortunate, man. This is unfortunate. In-state kid, could have been a big contributor this upcoming season. You know, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of talk that he had a path back to Tennessee when he announced his plans to enter the transfer portal. He's got the same agent as Christian Charles. Everything that I've read, everything that I've seen says that agent is really just pushing for more money. And look, we know how it works. It's business, right? It's not just more money for Jacobe Thomas. It's more money for the agent. So does the agent have Jacobe Thomas's best interest at heart? Does he have Christian Charles' best interest at heart? Or is that agent just trying to put more money in his pocket? The interesting thing, you know, we talk about money, a lot of conversations about money. A lot of people think Tennessee is out of money. I don't believe that that's the case. I talked about that a lot yesterday in the video. If you don't watch it, go back and give it a watch. I don't think Tennessee is out of money. I think they're being they're choosing when and where to spend that money. Now, Austin Price said that Tennessee was willing to meet Jacobe Thomas in the middle And at one point, it looked like he was going to come back, but the agent pushed him in. He's already got visits scheduled, Florida State and Miami. We'll see what happens. Who's going to be the starter at safety? Sounds like Idris Farouk and Andre Turntine probably going to be your starters back there at safety. But there's a couple of targets in the portal at the corner position, which is interesting. Of course, we know Jer'Michael McCoy is injured. We don't know when he's going to be healthy, when he's going to bounce back, when or if he'll ever be 100% again. You know, a guy I mentioned in an earlier video, Brent Austin, 5'11", 174-pound corner out of USF, unranked coming out of high school. Spent 2 seasons at James Madison and then transferred to South Florida. Started all 13 games last year. Had 48 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 10 pass breakups. Listed as a 3-star transfer in the portal. It is official now. Again, AP said he's one to keep an eye on. He is scheduled to be in Knoxville later today. So we'll keep an eye on that visit, see how that goes. But he's not the only corner that they're targeting in the portal. This is a name that popped up recently. Hayes Fawcett put out the graphic breaking. Colorado corner Colton Hood is entering the transfer portal. He tells On3 Sports. The 5'11", 190-pound corner totaled 24 tackles and 2 interceptions last season. He's got 3 years of eligibility remaining. Now, he was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school, saw limited action, just 4 games as a freshman at Auburn in 2023. Then he transfers to Colorado. Again, you see the stats there on the screen. 2024, he had 24 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 6 passes defended. 3 years of eligibility remaining, scheduled to be in Knoxville on Thursday. Now, there's a lot of people talking about the possibility of him being a package deal. His brother, Brandon Hood, was also a player at Colorado, 3-star running back, a true freshman, has 0 playing time, 0 playing experience. So I don't know if that's something that Tennessee would be willing to look at there, if they would take Colton Hood and Brandon Hood both as a package deal, but again, scheduled to be in town on Thursday. How are we feeling right now? What's the pulse of the Tennessee fan base as we sit here in the spring? Because again, for me, I think the wide receiver room is the big question. I think the wide receiver room is why a lot of people are talking about money. And even, you know, of course, the news came out yesterday, Jake Merklinger got a raise. I think Jake Merklinger probably deserves a raise. When you go from the backup quarterback to competing for the starting job, what's the difference between Jake Merklinger and Joey Aguilar? Should they be on a similar pay scale? No, I don't know what Jake was getting before or what he's getting now. I saw the number 500,000 tossed out. I don't know if that was his previous deal that he signed as a commit. Again, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I think that's fair for Jake to get a bump, to come in and compete for that QB1. I think Tennessee has money. I think where they really missed, where they really struck out, was back in December, not adding a wide receiver at that point when there was a little bit more talent in the transfer portal. And I get it. It's easy to say, to drop the bag, spend the money. I don't know that Tennessee, and this is all on Josh Heupel, this is all on the coaching staff. I don't think they realized how desperate they were going to be for a wide receiver. And I talked about this some back in December, back in January. The timing of when Squirrel White hit the portal, and everything that I saw, everything that I read, was that Tennessee did not expect Squirrel White to be entering the portal. And when he did, that kind of put him up against the wall. And a lot of these wide receivers, a lot of the talented wide receivers that could have possibly come in and pushed and competed for a starting job, I think a lot of those guys had already determined their destination. They had already decided where they were going. They already had their NIL deals in place. They had already committed. They were off the board. And now here we sit in the spring, and sometimes as fans, we expect some type of miracle to be worked. And yeah, some of the names I rattled off at the top of the video, I would have taken them at Tennessee, and I think they maybe could have contributed at Tennessee. But if they're asking for more money than Mike Matthews, if they're asking for more money than Braylon Staley or Chris Brazel, do you give that to a guy that's going to come in and be on the bench? Like, Tennessee is just not in a good situation. But again, it's nobody's fault but Josh Heupel's. You're the CEO. You're the man in charge. You're the man that's calling the shots. But at the end of the day, I look at this roster and I see a talented roster. I see a roster that can go out and compete in 2025. Now, we'll see what happens at the quarterback situation. Does Joey come in and win the job? Is it Jake? You look back to last year, it's kind of similar to Joe, man. I don't see a whole lot of games that Nico single-handedly went out there and won. You could argue maybe the Alabama game. But I think this football team is going to have a good defense. I think they're going to be able to run the football. So can Joey or Jake or whoever it is, can they manage the offense? Can Joey come in and grasp what Josh Heupel wants to do on offense? So, yes, we missed at wide receiver, but I think if we add the kid from Grand Valley State, I think if we add a corner, I think we're going to be all right. I think 2025 is still going to be an exciting time for Tennessee fans. What are your thoughts? Jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, make sure you smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. You can go check out the Talkin VAWLS merchandise at bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is in the description below. Also, the link to become a member of the channel. If you're on an iPhone, the join button does not work. You got to click that link in the description, and you can grab that merchandise or become a member of the channel. But that is going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.